Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Business Professor Show. J. Mance Gordon here, your host. What I want to talk to you about today is online degrees. Are online degrees worth it? Well, I probably have to define that question a little bit better because what does worth it mean? Well, an online degree is generally where you attend most of your classes, if not all of your classes, over the internet. Now, online degrees are not created equal. Some online degrees are nothing but recorded lectures where you take pre-programmed tests or examinations, and if you pass the course and you keep going and you go through your entire educational experience in that way. Other online programs are live in nature, but they are just carried out through the internet. There's live streaming for most classes where the recorded lecture is used to a minimum degree. Many of your test-taking experiences are monitored, so it's more like a live environment. So you have one extreme where there's no human involvement and another extreme where there's lots of human involvement, but the commonality is that all takes place online. And the question of worth it. What do I mean by worth it? Well, is it a solid means of acquiring knowledge? Is it a solid means of securing an accolade or access to career development or enhancement? And does it expose you to the experiential learning that otherwise the social environment and the interconnectedness of all the resources that are there in the college? That is, the people, the staff, the professors, the programs, the courses of study, the competitions, the centers, everything that makes up the college ecosystem. All the value that's there that adds to the personal development and growth of the student as an individual. Is that present in the online environment as well? Well, the question is obviously going to depend on the quality and nature of the online program. As we explained, there's a wide gamut of how these programs are carried out. But let's assume that we're talking about programs that are the most closely connected with the in-person experience. We can assume that these are going to be more valuable to the student. So, is it worth it? Well, let's look in these various areas. Knowledge acquisition. Well, if you go through these programs, can you acquire nearly as much, or perhaps even more in some cases, knowledge or information than you can in an online program? Well, I would say, to a certain extent, that's comparable. That there are rare instances where you have access to more information in an in-person environment than you will in an online degree program. The information that you have access to through the online resources, through the books, through the live exposure to professors and lectures is going to be roughly equal. Now, there are lots of questions there about student engagement. And can a student stay engaged in this environment sufficiently to absorb the information and take it in the online environment in this isolated type of setting the way they can in a college environment where everyone together is engaged in this similar pursuit of knowledge? Well, the next question is this going to move your career forward in the same manner that attending an in-person academic institution will? And the answer to that is probably no. Because lots of times there's a disposition among employers for graduates of in-person traditional academic institutions. So the online degree is not held in as high a regard by employers. Now, if you acquire the same skill sets, so you're going to go on and be an entrepreneur, is there going to be advantages of one over the other? Well, there's still probably some advantages. It's more difficult to make connections with others, and oftentimes the aspect of networking is extremely important in entrepreneurial careers the same way it is in joining organizations and moving up in those organizations clearly. So I would say that there is a strong advantage there for the in-person degree programs in that way. And the last area of question would be the piece of personal development. Well, we've addressed this in other videos where we talk about the reason for having a diverse college curriculum that includes different areas such as arts, social sciences, hard sciences, etc. And that's to create the well-rounded individual, someone who can relate well to different types of individuals. And this type of diverse curricula can be present in both an online and an in-person academic experience. But the difference here is the person sitting beside you. That is, the extent to which you are able to interact with those around you, to have conversations, to hear their diverse opinions, to not be stifled by the inability to communicate as effectively through information technology as you can sitting in a classroom with someone or taking part in these group exercises together where you're in person and can communicate fully without having these technological limitations. So I talk a lot about the idea that college is more focused on creating a more well-rounded individual than simply just delivering the classes. So once again, I have to give that strongly to the in-person educational environment. So clearly, in-person education strongly outweighs benefits-wise the benefits of the online degree. But is the online degree worth it? Well, I would say this. The first benefit of access to information, you don't need the online degree for that. Getting a degree, part two, is still a signaling function to employers. So even having an online degree versus an in-person degree, it is still incredibly valuable. And oftentimes it will qualify you for positions that otherwise you would not be able to obtain. Now, I will say that I do see a trend among the employment environment and in the community at large, particularly in the entrepreneurial community, where they recognize that you don't necessarily need this signaling function to go out there and be successful. That is, you should focus first on developing your skills and abilities, and if you can demonstrate these, that this is going to go further than simply having a degree or that signaling function associated with a degree. This is particularly true in industry for technologists. That is, skill outweighs the well-rounded exposure that comes from the college degree. And then lastly, personal development. And this is one place where I think the online degree fails, where you still can get the accolade, you still can access this organized information or course of study that is pre-laid out for you. You don't have to work to assemble it. But I would say for the money, for the resources that you have to put into an online degree in this way, there are many other ways that you could use that money to effectively become a well-rounded person. And your individual development from extensive reading, extensive travel, experiencing culturally significant things, having access to sources of media, for example, the History Channel, the Discovery Channel, things of that nature that are sources of factually accurate information that can help you evolve in your understanding. Money probably could be put to use more efficiently or effectively if your underlying goal is self-development in that way. So the question of, is an online degree worth it? Well, I would say it depends. It depends on what you want out of it. It depends on what worth it means to you. And in that regard, there is no one answer. The answer is personal in nature. Now, if you have an opinion on this, I want to hear about it in the forums. Please join in the discussion, join in the community. In any event, I hope to see you around the community soon. But until then, take care. Hello, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the content, and please pardon the interruption. I just want to take a moment to remind you that this is just a small sample of the various resources we have in our academy at thebusinessprofessor.com. We have long-form book summaries, business courses, business and legal templates, a career TV channel, an AI-powered business encyclopedia, recent headlines, and lots of other benefits to explore as well. So please, I hope to see you as a member of the community sometime in the future.